everyone. So everyone, and just so that you know, everyone who is not here, these are presentations. We power UNICEF, the Yoma platform globally. We power Jayo in India, that platform. So everything that we discuss here, and that's why I encourage everyone, our audience is huge and wide and tall. You get the ability, within 2 days of you being on here, it's impacting people all over the world, what it is we learn, what it is we share. So I want to thank Paul wholeheartedly for being here. A little bit, for those of you who want CPD credits, please, raise your hand to Kate. I know some of you want your continuing professional development credits. We are able to issue them for you. And let me talk a little bit about Paul. So Paul is, it's actually a new gig for him. So hold on, Paul, you're like Maxine. So many of you guys are in new gigs, right?
Yeah. And thanks to you, I need to add,
listen, and hold on. Paul is officially a teacher. I teacherized him. I love that. Paul is an amazing teacher. So, I only added tiny little dots of salt to what he was already doing so brilliantly. And Paul, I thank you for being here tonight, because I know you either are at the hospital, running to the hospital to be there for your wife. So, you know what? Thanks for the commitment, Paul. Really.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Yep. The operation went well, just a small op.
Okay.
And she's just come out of the theatre. So by the time she sort of wakes up, I'll be there. So.
Oh my God, Paul. Okay, so we're gonna like zoom through this. So Paul just took up leading BD partnership for so I think it's director of growth, right? For how do I pronounce this? Epsilon?
It's Epsilon. So it's part of the Publicis agency. So half my time I spend doing data and AI stuff. And the other half of my day, I'm doing NFT metaverse strategies. I'm currently engaged with Saudi Airlines on a project with them. So it's getting interesting. And so actually what I'm hope I can give some of that stuff we do with the big brands into this, give a little taster today of those,
very cool.
Those projects very cool. and how you kind of do it to not mess up your business.
Okay, so Paul, I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to allow you to share. And the stage is yours. I mean, as you know, it's your show tonight. So
thank you. And thanks everybody for your patience while I was getting onto the...
No, not at all. I got really worried. I was like, first time ever. We have like missing. I was like, okay, so I was going to side hustle for you for half an hour, Paul.
So where is the share button on here?
It's on the top. So if you go to the very top where it says meeting, and then it says
mine's at the bottom.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, and it says start share. Okay, cool.
Okay. Can everybody see my screen?
Yeah, we can see your screen.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks everyone again, and thanks Sal for the amazing introduction and patience for everybody whilst I managed to log on. So
no problem.
What we're going to talk about tonight is the exciting Web3, so the next digital revolution. And I'm also going to talk a little bit about Web 2.5, which is kind of where I think we are today. So what we're seeing, I've just got to minimize my screen so I can see everything. So Web3 or Web 2 to Web 3 is a prediction of about a $5 trillion business.
Hold on 1 second. Can I just tell everyone to please mute yourselves, or put everyone on mute while Paul is talking? That would be great. All right, Paul, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, that's a big one. So predicted value potential as we move from Web 2 to Web 3 is 120 million today to a $5 trillion potential business. That's from McKinsey's research. So a huge opportunity if you're in the space or you want to get in the space, huge opportunity for revenue. And that's what we'll look at today and how we get there, because obviously everybody's familiar with Web 2. Web 2.5 is what I think technology really allows today. And then some of the things that we look at in Web 3, like the metaverse applications and things like that. So when we look at this shift, the immersive digital world and the impact it's having on marketing for brands, here's a graph that shows kind of the businesses that are high on looking at metaverse or implemented things in metaverse to low. So metaverse initiatives implemented today by industry, we see media and telcos, and it's like around marketing campaigns and initiatives. And that's kind of what I see in business on a regular basis at the moment. So people don't want to go the whole hog into the metaverse, but they're quite happy to do like tactical campaigns or experiments in the space just to see how it looks, to judge consumer engagement and things like that before taking a giant leap into the space. So that's kind of where I'm seeing it at the moment. And you'll probably see lots of things in media and in consumer. And I'm going to show some things from Samsung that have been done. And I hate to say it, but I've got some Balenciaga stuff here, but I'll skip over that bit. It'll be the principle as opposed to the brand itself. Healthcare and public sector and tourism. So, you know, these businesses are looking, and it either comes from a marketing campaign or a conference or a Zoom call on steroids, kind of like what we're doing today, but maybe in the metaverse, we'd be using yellow stickies and running around a room and doing something more interactive together than what we're doing today, where I'm just giving you an information dump. So this will grow over time, at 100% sure. And as we see new initiatives and technology advances, there will be more and more applications in the space. So many of the sectors have already invested and will continue to invest so far. So when we look at this graph here, this is the leading industries that are active in the space. So we see utilities, manufacturing, high-tech businesses, consumer, finance, and healthcare and public. Now, the reason they're all high adopters is they found applications that when you put into a Web3 environment, there's immediate benefits for people. Other businesses which are lagging behind, which I was quite surprised when I saw this, because NFTs, for example, can be a great use for doing transport and logistics. So you can register something at source on the blockchain and follow it all the way through to its arrival destination. And so I think we'll see some of these industries that are falling behind actually accelerate over time, despite what we see with some of the big tech companies getting rid of lots of people over the past week or so. So yeah, watch this space, but I think these big investments will happen still, because I mean, the technology just allows so many benefits. And who are the customers? Who are the people that are really in the space at the moment? So for me, coming from a metaverse NFT background, this was clear to me. It's Gen Z. So they're immersive digital natives. So virtual experiences have become an integral part of daily life for Gen Z, who spend more than 12 hours a week gaming. So a lot of the guys in the gaming space worry more about their digital identity than what they look like in a public identity. So here's some stats that we've got from Razorfish and Vice. 65% of Gen Z have developed new relationships via gaming. So they become friends, they chat, and their whole social network exists around the gaming space. 52% feel more like themselves in games. 56% say, my avatar is me. So it's this whole interpretation of how people view themselves, as opposed to when I was a kid, you know, it'd be buying something new, and a new shirt, new pair of jeans, new trainers, and showing them to people on the street. Now, Gen Z environment is looking at what happens in the digital space. So it's pretty interesting. And people are spending awful lots of money in the space. 40% say their virtual possessions are just as important as their real life possessions. So skins that people wear in some of the games that they buy, they're their property, and they love to have them. And it's that ownership, that digital ownership, which is a big Web3 shift, as opposed to what we do today, maybe in Spotify, where we pay a fee to watch, but we don't own the properties that we're listening to or watching. As we shift into the Web3 space, digital ownership becomes really important. So the things that you sell, people want ownership, whether it be tickets, whether it be music, whether it be clothes. They have to digitally own them. They don't want to have a streaming service. It's a product like we own at home today. 30% would like to see brands sell virtual items in the metaverse. So there's the market to tap into. Now, once it becomes more mainstream, then people like you or I will start maybe investing in this as well. But it's really geared towards the Gen Z at the moment. And as that takes off, it's about, for me, when I look at projects, how can I make a seamless bridge into the Web3 space so people from my age group are less fearful of getting into the space? I want to make it easy for getting mainstream adoption. So we have to also look at mainstream adoption. We have to look at projects that people will actually want to do, or how it can be beneficial in a Web3 environment. So this, as I mentioned before, it's the next stage of digital evolution based on things that are already part of our lives. So there is already an increasing trend of blending virtual and real, and it's a new evolution of how we use the internet and a playground for innovation. And it meets at the convergence of social media, gaming, and commerce. Okay, so initially, on internet, interactions that took place on social platforms have expanded into online gaming. So we just used to chat in Facebook and stuff. That's now shifted into gaming. And then gaming, the virtual game worlds have evolved into social spaces that can simulate real world events. And then from a commerce perspective, immersive virtual shopping experiences and digital only products have exploded in popularity. So Nike, I think, is probably the best example of what they've done with their RTK and the swoosh brand. It's a phenomenon of how much revenue that they're generating from digital merchandise. So how did we arrive at Web3? And we're just getting there. And even this diagram shows you, if you look at the screen, we are here. We're on the bleeding edge of the Web3 technology, which is why even today, if you've got a place in Sandbox or you've got a place in Decentraland, how many people actually go there? It's really small amounts of numbers. But as the technology improves and as the experiences and the ideas to put in the space evolve, then more and more people will go there. So the next generation tech is fundamentally changing how we're going to interact online across Web 2, Web 2.5, and Web 3. So first of all, when we got the web, it was a place where we would look at static experiences and we could read about things, but we couldn't engage and interact. Then Web 2.0, the social web as it's called, was built for sharing on centralized platforms, apps, and networks. So we started engaging with each other and we could read, write, comment on content. We could do a lot more as we do today. Where we are now is a kind of like hybrid where we're putting VR and AR layers on top of Web 2 to create these more immersive experiences. But when we get to Web 3, that changes the game completely. It's immersive web built on decentralized platforms and powered by the blockchain. What does that really mean? It means today, when we look at Web 2, it's controlled pretty much by the Facebooks and Googles of the world. They control your data and what information you're seeing and what goes onto the web. As soon as we move to Web 3, the data is coming back to us. We will own our data. We will decide who gets our data. So brands will have to engage very well with you. They'll have to build up trust. So you give them your data. You like this company, so I will share my data with them. You'll be able to read, write, and own. And it's that digital ownership piece that comes into Web 3. So this immersive web where you can own different digital products. And where it's decentralized, no one can change what happens. The decentralized blockchain means that if you make a transaction, it's there and it's there forever. It can't be tampered with. You can't change it. It's there and it's there for good. So a lot of good things to come from Web3 and a lot of things that, you know, we all need to learn and educate ourselves with. So the building blocks that make up Web3 is the blockchain technology, which I just mentioned. I've just got to move a little box. And it marks an important paradigm shift. Consumers will increasingly use crypto wallets to authenticate their data usage on Web3 applications. And this is where a lot of people get scared, put off. They don't want to have crypto wallets. They're a pain. You've got to remember loads of passwords. And if you lose it, you lose your money. People hack you. There's all kinds of stories, FTX, etc. So it's a daunting world for most people. So most people don't want to get into it. So this is why when I talk about when you plan to go from Web 2 to Web 3, you have to make it seamless and very secure for people. So if we look across the top in black, we've got in the Web 3 space, the blockchain and smart contracts. The Web 2 equivalent today are trading mechanisms, inventory and products. In the Web 3 world, we've got cryptocurrency and tokens. In the Web 2 world, we've got hard currency that we pay for things. In the Web 3 world, we've got crypto wallets. In the Web 2 world, that's a web, a mobile, personal profile, bank account, credit card, and things like that. So they're the equivalents. NFTs, the non-fungible tokens, and there's a whole subject on that area as well in Web 3. Web 2's equivalent are loyalty rewards, community memberships, brand advocacy. So it's just, they're the things that you're ultimately changing as soon as you go to Web 3, from a traditional Web 2 equivalent into the new things in Web 3. So when we talk about shifting into the Web 3 space, I always ask people, you know, don't go fully in there. I always start with an education piece, move that into a strategy piece, because every company does things differently. And if you're a big brand or something like that, you don't want to potentially damage reputation. So a good way into the space is from moving from a Web 2 into these virtual worlds. You can tie up, if you're a brand, you can do something in Roblox, you can do something in Fortnite. So this is a way consumers can access experiences in virtual platforms through digital portals, and primarily from gaming. So Fortnite runs off game consoles, PS4, PS5s, Xboxes, etc. Roblox runs off a desktop, web browser and mobile, and Zepeto runs off mobile. So these are always good ways into the environment if you want to experiment without damaging what you do on a day-to-day basis. And then you can gauge what type of feedback you get, what type of interaction happens with people. And they're quite good fun to get involved in. This is something that was a Fruit Loops, a brand, a cereal brand, that put themselves a little game into Roblox. Now, I don't know how, if you're going to be able to hear this.
We can't hear it, but we all know Fruit Loops. I think all of us know Fruit Loops.
Yeah, this is. So what the brand have done here, they've been smart because they wanted to get into the space, but they didn't want to go into a fully metaverse well. So what they've done is gone halfway house with Roblox. They put their branding in there. They put kids game in there, and you got some, benefits. So, it was a world that everybody wanted to get, and it was a great way of engaging people with a Fruit Loops brand outside of breakfast time. So this was the brand I mentioned that I didn't want to talk about, but what they did in Fortnite was incredible in terms of what they managed to sell and generate around awareness. Sorry, did someone have a question?
No. I said it's awesome. Balenciaga. I mean, very well-known brand.
Yeah. And I'm for good and bad now. So they were managed to tap into the cultural conversation around the metaverse ecosystem and build the brand's meaning unique amongst these key digital audiences. And it reduced barriers to entry early on to enable new immersive experiences as the pioneer in the space. So it did great brand attachment for them. and for a new audience of digital savvy users, right? So they're tapping into a whole new digital community. So the online store, which sold out completely within a month from September to October 21, and some of those items, digital items that you could wear in Fortnite, were sold out within 24 hours. And they followed up again with a virtual clothing store from March 22 to June 22. Everything sold out. Wow. And for me, that's pretty incredible. It just goes to show that shift, that digital ownership shift that I spoke about earlier. So if you're going in from a Web 2 to a Web 3 space, this is one of the best ways to experiment, because there's already a platform, there's already a community. So if you've got a brand, it's a nice entry point to get your items and get your first experiences of the space.
Quick question, Paul. Is it that they were allowing gamers or a game to wear their clothing? Is that how?
So that's exactly what Fortnite, Roblox do. They tie up now with brands. So it'll be like, for me in the real world, going to Dubai now and saying, can I put a Balenciaga store here? You would make an agreement, you'd sign a contract. Yeah. This is how much it costs for your rent, and you have your store. So it's all that's exactly what they do in that space. You tie up an agreement with them, and then you can have your clothes marketed on their platform for people and gamers to wear and run around with. So your digital presence, hey, look at me, I'm wearing the new Nikes or the new Gucci, whatever it might be, in the digital space. And I tried to relate it back to people the other day when I was a kid. I used to, when I first learned to drive, I would try and show off driving around the one-way system in sunny downtown Basingstoke, England, with a new car. And this is what people are doing now. They're taking this digital merchandise, and it's a way of showing the world, look at me, I've got this. And it's that kind of way of thinking, right? And this was an advert that they did on the big 3D screen in the US to support the promotion. So it was pretty well done. And then when we shift that Web 2.5 into the Web 3 virtual world, here's some of the metaverse places where you can go and engage today. You can create your avatar, you can run around, and you can look in these spaces. Now, these platforms are good to experiment in. I think things will change a lot over time. I know in Decentraland, there's a lot of management changes, in Sandbox as well, but they were first to market, and they do have something that serves a purpose. But in real terms, not many people go into these spaces at the moment. Whereas in the gaming spaces, the Web 2.5 experiments with Roblox and Fortnite are very popular. So this is a great place, and I recommend experimenting here. I'd be very nervous about telling someone to shift the business here and hope to get millions of dollars or whatever purpose from it. So I think you need to be really careful about that. And when you're educating and planning your strategy, this bit is the very end piece. And I think over time, the technology will be right, so your strategy can be implemented. Whether you do it today or not is a different thing for me.
I have a question, Paul. I've heard so many people say they spent a lot of money building metaverse, in the sandbox, and nobody goes to it.
Yeah, it's absolutely right. People can spend a fortune creating something amazing, but the thing for me is here you see that it's a web browser only at the moment. So if I want to go in Sandbox, I have to log into my laptop and then go and experience something. For me, it's like when I used to watch 3D movies, right? You need to come and get the glasses, put them on, and it became a fad. So I have nothing against putting something there, but would I spend a lot of money on it? And my expectation on engagement has to be quite realistic in terms of what I do there. I would be really careful how I plan my entry into this space. And that's why I recommend, like at the moment, if you want to experiment in the virtual space, those tie-ins with those other places are quite good. Or you might want to do some, like you might want to have your own office in Decentraland, for example, where you can host meetings like we're doing today. They're quite simple, straightforward, and easy to do. And there's quite a few companies that are doing that. And there's some advantages to that, and that's fairly easy, but it's a closed environment where you're just engaging with people, you know. But it's very hard to get volumes of people into the space.
And what about Meta? Are they having a lot of activity? And I'm asking specifically because someone actually chatted with us just this week about taking our Gleek micro lessons and putting it in VR in the Meta platform. Or I think they're building like some version of the App Store for the VR or something like that.
Yeah, I think long-term Meta, I mean, I've seen some of their roadmaps and planning. It looks amazing. And why I like Meta, and I think Meta will have, of course, a future, is because, you know, they're building a platform to serve millions of people that are already on Facebook. So there's an audience there if they can get it right. And this is why everybody says, you know, Mark Zuckerberg spent billions generating this rubbish, but it's not, because if you think he's got to serve across multiple devices, millions of people, the technology's not there to serve that many millions of people on the graphical levels that we come to expect from our games and stuff. Once you start putting the volume there of guests in the space, it becomes very hard from a technology standpoint. But what they're doing is really cool. I mean, and from a business or taking your brand into the space, they've got languages, so we'll be able to talk to anybody in the world without learning languages and things like that. So there's some really, what they're doing is really cool. But of course, they've had to scale back their businesses because of, you know, share prices and stuff like that. But yeah, no, I quite like what Meta have done. I just think they need to get on track. And I think some of the cases that they've built serve very well communities, and they're, you know, they're mobile first, etc., etc. And I think that has to be the key to get mass adoption, right? You have to be able to look and log in on your phone. I mean, even today, if we talk about our Zoom call, if I wasn't at home at my laptop, I could still log into Zoom on my phone. And imagine if you got called into a meeting in Decentraland and you weren't anywhere near your laptop, and you couldn't log in on your phone, or you could via a web browser, but it's inconvenient.
Okay.
So they're important things to bear in mind when coming into the space. It needs to be convenient and it needs to appeal to volume.
Okay.
This is something that we did do with Samsung in Decentraland that was very popular. However, what I need to check, and I didn't have time to do it before here, is I want to see the engagement since the launch and since they spent all the money doing it. So I'll just put this on. So this is Samsung in Decentraland. They have a brand called 837X. Sorry, you can't hear this. This is how they took their name. It's been some gaming where you can do things. Then wearables and so they did really well at the beginning. Over 1 billion earned media impressions, 200,000 plus NFTs collected, and 100,000 plus Discord fans in 12 hours. Now, when you get into the marketing of metaverse, Discord and knowledge of Discord and those communities are very important. But I didn't check, and I wanted to check because this was launched earlier. I want to see how successful this still is, this space, and I will check the engagement. And if you're interested, I'll drop it into the group just to see what happened after the initial hype, spending lots of dollars on marketing to get those type of numbers, then to see how that continues will be interesting for me.
And what kind of numbers are we talking about when you say lots of numbers, like $500,000, $1 million, 200,000? Like, what are big brands, these big companies spending just to get into the space?
To get into the space, I would have said probably for that Decentraland piece that they've done, probably a couple of $100,000. But I imagine what they spent on marketing would have been huge. And to run Discord, you need people full time sat there. And you'll probably know this quite well, Sal, from your NFT space, to build that community, to get the understanding across number of platforms and spaces is quite hard.
Okay, so technically it's not the spend on the building it and going, it's the spend on the marketing to get that new audience in.
That's my view, but some people will charge you an absolute fortune for metaverse consultancy, but it doesn't cost. And all they do in the end is tell you, here, spend $50,000 with us and we give you a space in Sandbox. There's a lot of people milking the space at the moment, but to be honest, it doesn't cost lots and lots of money to build out those spaces.
Okay, good to know that.
Yeah, no, it's important to know, because if you're a small brand and you start speaking to people because you want to get into the space, but then everyone says, oh, it's going to cost you this and this. I know one newspaper employed a guy just to do some consultancy on it for $200,000. And you think, that's madness, because you can do most of the research yourself, and it's just, I mean, I'm lucky that I've had real experience early of building platforms for people. So I kind of know the pitfalls, but and like always, if you leave my contacts, if anyone gets questions and stuff after,
absolutely,
and they want to ask, I'm always happy and I'm always available to answer, because it's also interesting.
Yeah, and I want to say to you, Paul, one thing that we discovered was that we did that also. Starting off when we went into the Web3 space, we actually, you are correct, spent some money, trying to build Discord and that whole thing. But here's what we discovered: our buyers were not the typical NFT buyers. It was actually, we already had community and we already knew who our buyers were, and it was within our traditional space. Yeah. And they are not on Discord and they are not on Telegram, right? Maybe Twitter and whatever. So I think sometimes we're thinking it's this brand new thing, but it's just really another channel of distribution sometimes to our existing base.
And I think what you were doing and what you had well for mass was you were giving away, actually the NFT was just the vehicle in which you were packaging something amazing in the real world, right?
Yep.
So I think that's where you scored over a lot of these other projects, because you were giving away real tangible benefit that you could see immediately.
Yeah.
And I think that would have been one of the keys to your success, I would imagine. And even when I'm talking about doing something with some old unreleased Star Wars characters from the George Lucas movies.
Yeah.
And I said to the guys, even if we launch it as NFTs, it's infinitely collectible. But imagine if you can go and meet the artist and do more things around the ownership of the NFT and make it something really special, then it have value for a lifetime.
Yeah. Yeah. And let me ask you a question. Are you allowed to share what you're doing in terms of the Web3 space with the Saudi airline or no?
I can't. No, I'm under NDA. But
no problem.
But next week February the 6th, we're hosting an amazing thing, like to get people into the space. We're taking it. I don't know if everybody's in Dubai, because you said everybody's around the world, but we're having a day's gaming in the VR place in downtown, where you can go in and shoot zombies and kick footballs. And so I'm trying to, and this is thanks to you again, where you try to build in a lot of practical stuff around these PowerPoint type things. So the VR park is quite a good place to go if you want to get the real feeling of being immersed in the space.
Oh, wow. Very cool. All right, cool. All right, keep going. I know, and please let us know. I know you have to run, because I know you're...
It's okay, because I haven't got loads. And again, this is simple AR XR work. So these are things that you can do very easily, and they kind of put an immersive layer over a traditional picture or something. And here you can see all of these things. It's taking me out. Actually, I won't. If that loads quickly, I'll just play one. So here's Rice Krispies. So you can see, you can so much give that a big hug. And this is a virtual product.
We can't see that screen, by the way. It must have gone off your screen share.
Okay. Okay, I'll probably best if I share that out with you then later.
No problem, no problem. So these are just traditional videos that you did an AR filter on them.
Correct, yeah. So they more personalized and give you a little bit of experience with them. They're quite nice. They're good fun. They're very simple and easy to do.
Mm.
And then we did more complex stuff like the Fruit Loops was the connected AR thing in Roblox. LexiScan, frosted Kellogg's Frosties and things like that. The Justin Timberlake one was Justin Timberlake's music. I don't know if this.
Okay, yeah, it's coming.
Yeah. Sorry, you can't hear this. Just explaining about why he went into this AR music experience. So you start scanning your phone around, and just in a bit, you can engage with music.
Yeah, we actually had that with Lovely Humans. I don't know if you remember that. Lovely Humans, you can scan around and it started appearing everywhere.
Yes, yeah. So that becomes an immersive experience, and that was something that was really popular with Justin Timberlake and the American Express, because fans got to a deeper engagement with an artist that they love.
That's very cool.
And then when you want to start these experiments of moving, there's all things that you should consider. We touched on it earlier, but it's the communication and the community. So we touched on this a fair bit, but Discord and Twitch have wide adoption in Web3 space, with many solutions providing only contactable through private servers on the platform. But that's an essential Web3 one for me. But like Sal said, if you've got something really beneficial in the real world, then maybe less so. Yeah. Discord has over 150 monthly active users and more than 19 million invite-only topic-based community. And Twitch has 140 million. So
Discord is blocked in the UAE, Paul. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, really? When did that?
You have to have a VPN. I learned that the hard way. I was live. I couldn't go live on Discord unless it's unblocked. But when we were launching Lovely Humans, it was blocked in the UAE, and I had to go through a VPN to actually, I was going live and I couldn't get on.
Yeah, I'm not on a VPN, and it's working.
Yeah, you can access. You can go in and you can see. But if you go live, your video, it's kind of like WhatsApp. Your video.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can't go live.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So you can access, but you can't. It's restricted and squeezed. So yeah, then you need the VPN.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So versatility, chat rooms, voice and video calls. This is all a good thing to do in the Web3 environment. And brand communities, brands taking advantage of these platforms to engage with audiences directly and share announcements and activations. So communication and community is really important in the space. The next iteration of commerce powered by content. So brands are delivering new ways to shop in the metaverse to reflect the growing consumer demand for virtual products, as we discussed. So you've got retail, e-commerce, then we had social shopping, and now we've got the metaverse shopping. And you can see there the Nike branding in there. And then some challenges of virtual experiences, and these are being done through partnerships. So consumer adoption is very hard, as we've spoken about. Web3-enabled metaverse platform is significantly than the number of players using centralized platforms, as we spoke about before. Market speculation, this is another one. Accusations of speculative market driven by crypto enthusiasts and investors. So 85% of all NFT transactions are done by the top 10% of traders, and less than 5% of crypto entrepreneurs are female. So
Oh, wow.
that's something that needs addressing, right? And measurement. So trying to measure your return on investment in this space at the moment is hugely difficult. Okay, so a standard framework to measure engagement in Web3 platforms is still to be determined, making it harder to judge your return on investment. So these things you need to bear in mind, which is why I like the stuff where you can see very quickly you sell NFTs or you sell inside the gaming environments. You can see a return on your investment in a more traditional way. And the biggest elephants in the room, the sustainability side of this, everybody still goes on about the environmental impact of blockchains. It's great concern to everybody, but technologies are getting better to reduce the harmful impact of the energy that they're using to the environment. And there's some of the Polygon studios, DressX, Azuki are all trying to do their best they can. Identity is another one in metaverse. It's fluid and user data is decentralized. So this creates huge challenges for marketing physical goods to real life individuals rather than the virtual persons. People also value their privacy and loyalty and treat it as an asset in their interactions with brands. So as I said earlier, in Web3 environment, you own your data and identity again. It's not owned by some big corporation that can send it around everywhere. So brands are going to have to be hyper interested to do business with you, and you'll have to really trust them to give them your data. And then there's brand safety. So changes in ownership will mean control of a Web3 enabled metaverse platform is delegated to brands directly instead of partners. So this raises concerns around the safety, information security, and data compliance will also be really critical in the space. But what do the experiences look like today? So we've got metaverse and virtual experience. We've got physical and digital retail. We've got the gaming integrations. We've got experiential things. We've got AI and virtual humans. And we've got NFT campaigns. They're all kind of like isolated, and this is how people experiment. But actually, magic happens when you can bring all of this together. So you've got 3D social virtual experiences with AI and virtual humans. You've got the next generation of rewards and loyalty, which Starbucks with their Odyssey program have already implemented. So that's worth having a look. I think they put their Discord community up yesterday. So that's interesting. Automated engagement and advocacy, frictionless virtual experiences, and the gaming integrations to mass scale to reach the Gen Z, and the physical and digital retail is driving consideration and purchase. So when you bring everything together, the whole world becomes amazing in the digital space. So good metaverse practice or good Web3 practice. I think I'm coming to the end now before I give you a little exercise. So when I go into any project, and this is just a slide I took from work because it's actually quite a good one. We always start with doing education sessions. For me, and until you can go into any brand, but 9 times out of 10 people won't understand the platforms and the projects of metaverse and Web3 and all of these things that we just touched upon today. So education's important. And then once you've done an education piece, people who do their jobs today in a company know far better than me or anyone else what they do and how maybe the technology can benefit their business. Because if there's no benefit for customers or improvements in efficiency in business, cost savings, or whatever they might be, then there's really no point in doing it. You know, Dubai is a great place, you know, where we speak about the government shifting everything into the metaverse. But there's certain departments that, to be honest, don't really benefit. But if you have a KPI that you need a space with a brand, that's so easy to do, and it ticks a box on your KPI. That's very simple. But to actually think and build a strategy where there's going to be huge benefit, and when you go in to do that strategy, you're also looking at probably a 5-year plan as you build everything out, probably like it was with the internet and building web pages a long, long time ago. So that strategy development and then selection of your partners and who you're going to work with in that ideation is very important. And then, of course, you go into the execution of that. So really important education and strategy, and there has to be clear benefit from doing it. Otherwise, don't bother doing it. Really, it will be a pain and not worth it. And so that's it really from my side. And I can't spell exercise. I've just seen.
That's okay. Listen, that's fine. And it's you know, I know in terms of time, so we won't spend a lot of time. Well, why don't we tackle one of them, and let's do it right here, Paul, as a group, and we can probably do it in chat, giving you comments in chat.
Yeah, I've tried to make it fairly simple and relevant to what we've been discussing. So I put two different things on there. Assume you're a big brand that wants to make its first step into Web3. Take a product and present how you take it into the space. That's number one. Or number two, and this is something that I think would be a good idea for someone. Assume you're a travel company and want to utilize the benefits of Web3 to improve sales of holidays. How would you go about it and what would you present?
So let's ask everybody in chat, which one do they want to tackle, one or two? And let's tackle it. Who wants to tackle one? Let's have a vote, guys, in chat. Do you want to tackle one or two? Okay, I see two. I'm going to put two. Okay, everybody seems to want to tackle two. Paul, all right.
Okay, there we go.
So can you show us the question again, Paul?
Of course I can. Oh, it disappeared already?
Yeah, it disappeared. Like you're back now to your first page of your presentation.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. Just go down to the bottom. Yeah, there. So that way we can just see that question. Okay, so everyone in chat, let's do it in chat. Assume you're a travel company and want to utilize the benefits of Web3 to improve sales or holidays. How would you do that based on everything Paul just taught us? Think about it. I'm going to put some music on. Hold on. I'm going to put some music on for 2 minutes. And let's everybody come up with what we're thinking. In chat. 2 minutes, Paul.
Okay.
Mama cool, mama sa, mama kusa, mama cool, mama sa, mama kusa, mama cool, mama sa, mama kusa, mama cool, mama sa, mama kusa,
Okay, hold on. Let's start reading some of the things. Okay, we have travel agents can virtually walk you around the property. Paul, what, you want to keep reading?
Yeah, sorry, I'm just trying to get the screen. So is the next one I would part? Oh no,
educate the teams.
Yeah, I want to, but I'm just seeing bits of the chat disappearing from my screen. Hold on.
Oh wow. Can you see it? Are you seeing it or no?
Yeah, no, I need to scroll. So yeah, educate the teams first in the travel company. Yeah, exactly. Because the first part, as I've said, if you can go into the travel agent, educate the teams, see how they would look at selling, because they know how they sell their travel today, educate them on the technology, and then you can target the type of audience. So great. Yeah. One of the gaming countries to unlock a destination. So imagine that. You can unlock discounts when you get there in one of the games. You arrive on an island that's been built for, you know, somebody in Fortnite or Roblox, and you go there and all of a sudden you get all of these discounts. That's pretty cool too. And these are great. Yeah. And this is in short time, right? You've answered really quickly. So for the places they're offering travel packages for, let people experience the itinerary in the metaverse. Yeah, brilliant. And one project I had was on that point, you know, I live in Dubai. My parents live in the UK. Other people live in other places, and we still like to go on holiday together. And one of the old things we used to do is, like when we were younger, get all of the holiday books and all choose a holiday together. I just thought on this place where you can experience an itinerary in metaverse, you could bring your whole family in and choose a holiday again together. So you're all sat in a lounge in a metaverse environment, going through the itinerary, looking at the destinations and choosing together. It brings the family back together. So I think that's lovely. Tickets as NFTs, which they can sell to others. Yes, and then there's a royalty that is paid back to the property owner or travel agent each time that NFT is sold. The fact that you can cancel, if they cancel, it's easy to resell. Just the NFT holds all the information and the tickets. It's a great thing. And of course, you know so much about the person who's buying the ticket, and when it changes hands, if I was able to sell a hotel accommodation to a friend today, the hotel might not know who that person is, you know, until they check in, and so on and so forth. So all of the data you get, everything off the back of those NFTs is really beneficial. And actually, if you get the ticket as an NFT and it's designed by a famous artist, they become collectible as well. So you have all of these great things to come off the back of it. Loyalty in the space. Yeah, all the travel companies, airlines have today traditional loyalty programs, not personalized. Imagine you could do so many things with NFTs and bonuses for travelers, make things collectible, educate people, maybe, you know, carbon footprints, give bonuses for travelers that use less carbon footprints, and so on and so on.
I like that one. That carbon footprint one. All right.
There's a lot that, I mean, these are great ideas. These are fantastic. Yeah. Sequence that once the discount is activated, you have to keep visiting to unlock stuff that you get on the physical property. Yes. And when you get into the property, you could have like VR games for your children so they can run around, explore the hotels and collect things. And that might give them free kids activities. And, you know, you can blend a lot of this virtual digital space into the real space as well. But what you're able to do is, when you're doing this, is create the holiday engagement and excitement before people go on holiday and when they come back. So you then get the brand attachment. So yeah, these are fabulous ideas. Really great.
And you can even time capsule the vacation, right? With the ticket and all of your experiences and photos and everything, and probably tokenize that entire experience on blockchain at the end of the experience, which would be kind of cool, right? It's kind of like a time capsule of going, you know, this moment in time I was here and this is what we did.
Yeah, no, it's phenomenal. I mean, I think there's so many good things you could do. You can track your memories as NFTs in your, let's say you've got your virtual condo, pictures from your holiday, everything can go in there. You can have all your memories everywhere. So much. I mean, that's why I put travel's an exciting space, and I think travel can really benefit because you don't have to go all across the world. You can actually see most of it in a virtual environment and build your excitement for when you really get there. So, well, yeah, fabulous ideas. Destination coupons to experience in real time. All really good stuff.
So Paul, whenever you have your next pitch, you can come to one of our things and we can give you ideas. How's that?
Yeah, I mean, you know, and this is what I try to do. And what I like with all of these ideas is that people are using the right approach to the space to immediately give benefit to customers or the hotels, and it's really, really, really very good.
Yeah. So Paul, you know, on that note, I mean, this was fantastic, everyone. I would, you know, absolutely agree. And I can't thank you enough, you the human. You know how I feel about you and the fact that you are here tonight, even though you're sitting in a hospital.
I'm not in the hospital yet. I'm at home.
Yeah,
but I hope my home doesn't look like a hospital.
Yeah, but I will just say to you, I mean, that I know you mentioned to me stuff in terms of with your wife. So I want to just say to you, thank you, you the human being, for just absolutely always being here and doing a brilliant presentation. I cannot wait to share with you the feedback from everyone who will benefit off of this.
Yeah,
you know,
and please be honest if anything wasn't nice or wasn't right or anything I can do.
Guys, hold on. Let me tell everyone who is in this room, give Paul from a 1 to 10. How did he do? Give him the feedback. He wants the feedback.
I want to know what I can try to do better, because here I had limited time, right? So
you did so well. I do have to tell you, you did brilliantly. Actually, you know, I did not know so many things. I learned a lot just listening to that presentation. So
that's the main thing.
Thank you.
I would try. If you, I was just trying to put my contacts in somewhere.
Yeah, can you put it in the chat?
Yeah.
Because the chat gets downloaded and we will make sure it goes up with your presentation. So if you can put your contact, and Kate has your information, Paul. So Kate, our team is on here, so she will make sure and share your information. And Paul, if ever you know, I saw Sora putting a note in there. If ever you want, you have a pitch and you want to come and practice it on us to give you ideas, we're always open to
the ideation school.
So on that note, I want to say to all of you who attended, thank you wholeheartedly. A good night to everyone. It was so great having you all here, and have a great evening with your family. I'm going to put some music on, and that's going to be everyone's sign off. Paul, you were fantastic.